Hey, I'm back. Another day at the original Pancake House. Another day I'm blessed to see. I'm thankful. I gotta say it. I'm thankful. It was a decent day. Every day has its challenges and hurdles you have to, overcome. But we get through it. We get through it. So today was Fridays are usually okay. Fridays aren't that bad. It wasn't a bad day today. But back to what we were talking about. We were talking about the sour starter. And I was telling you guys how we make the sour starter. It's a 3-day process. It takes 72 hours to make the sour starter at the original Pancake House, and it's fun stuff. I wanted to make a batch today, but I didn't get around to it. Thankfully, I had 3 batches going already. I was off the last 2 days, so I had 3 batches going already. So tomorrow I'll do a double batch and catch everything up. So, but yeah, 3 days. It's a 3-day aging process, and you have to stay ahead of it. You can't get behind. There's always situations where we're doing so much volume and so much business that it can get behind. But I have ways around it. And we also have a variance that we go by. So there is a situation where it does fall behind, and I just won't use it inside the batter. For health department reasons, they don't want us using a sour starter that has a high pH, and we do test our sour starter. We test it every 72 hours, every 3 days. We test it before we use it to make sure the pH levels are low, and we're able to use it. We're able to use it inside the batter. And again, I'm in charge of that. I manage that, and I do a really good job with it. I have everyone trained really well when it comes to making up the buttermilk, getting it ready for the line, what to look for in my absence, just in case I'm not there. But yeah, it's a 3-day aging process. So tomorrow I'll go in, I'll make a batch. Once I make a batch of the sour starter, I have to separate it into like 3 or 4 containers, because at that point, the yeast, sugar, everything starts to activate, and it'll start to rise inside the container. So if I leave it in one container, the same container I make it in, if I just leave it in that container, it's gonna come out and go everywhere. But I have to separate it into 3 or 4 containers, which is what I do. And it'll sit overnight. It rises. In a matter of hours, it starts to rise. And from around, if I make it early enough, you can actually take the top off of it and see it. See it bubbling up, see it rising. It's fun. It's so great to have the privilege to be able to make such a unique product. The sour starter is like, it is. It's pure genius. I really, really enjoy making it. And I like the way it smells, especially after it's been sitting for about a day or 2. But yeah, I separate it into 4 containers after I make it, and then it starts to ferment, it starts to rise. And then the very next day I come in, I'll combine it. Not all back into one container. I usually combine, if I separate it into 4 containers, I'll combine it like back into 2, because it's still pretty active and it may start to rise again and come out of the container. I don't want that. I've learned that the hard way. So I'll slowly start to combine it back into 1 container. Most of the time I'll leave it in the 2 containers, unless I'm doing a half batch. Then I'll separate it into 2 containers and then just combine it back into 1, which I like doing the half batches. But certain times of the year, when it's busy, around the holidays and stuff like that, I'll do double batches, and I'll have to separate it into 4 containers. As things start to slow down a little bit, I can back up, the amount that I'm making, and I can start making smaller batches, because it has a 9-day shelf life. And we don't hold sour starter after 9 days. So we can use it on day 9, But after 9 days, it must be discarded if I have any, if I have any left over, or I got so far ahead that it will go past day 9. I just get rid of it. But by that time, I already got other batches going because I'm constantly making the sour starter. I make it during the holidays. If I'm doing huge batches, I don't need to make it every day. I might do maybe 3 batches a week, 3 big batches a week, and that's enough. When things start to slow down, like now we're going into a new year and things are starting to trickle down, things are starting to slow down a little bit, I'll start doing half batches. But I'll do that every day I work. So, if I'm working 5 days a week, I'm gonna make that sour starter 4 days out of 5, maybe 5 days. Depends on if we got a holiday coming up or something like that, or Monday, national holiday or something like that. I may make it 5 days that week. But yeah, it's fun. And I come in the mornings when I get there. That's one of the first things I'll check. I'll check that sour starter because it's very important for the original Pancake House that is correct. Yeah. And we test the pH. We test it. We make sure that the pH levels are low. I know what to look for. Other managers know what to look for. Immediately they can take the top off and know right away whether or not that sour starter has a high pH or low pH without even testing it. Because if it's foamy looking and it's still active and hasn't settled down, there's a good chance, a 100% chance that the pH is still, still too high. So we allow it to age. In the wintertime, the aging process takes a little longer because it gets a little cold in the kitchen overnight, when the restaurant is closed. But in the summertime, when it's warm back there, yeah, 72 hours, it's not a problem. In the wintertime, it's a little cool back there. The temperature's a little on the low. We try to find a warm place for it. Sometimes keeping it on the line, even under the stoves, if we have to. But I try to keep it, I don't want it up there on the line too much because you don't want to have the sour starter close to items that can potentially contaminate it. So I normally keep it over there, over in my station by me, where I can keep a sharp eye on it, making sure it doesn't get contaminated, making sure nothing falls in it. It is topped up. Just making sure nothing contaminates it. Nothing gets in there. But yeah, the sour starter is it's a lot of fun. In the wintertime, in the cooler, because it has to maintain a temperature of approximately 70 degrees. And in the wintertime, it becomes a little more difficult to maintain that temperature, which means it takes a little bit longer for the pH levels to come down. It may take an extra day or two. But I make so much of it that, if it takes an extra day or two, 4 to 5 days before the pH levels come down, I have enough sour starter made where it won't matter. I've learned that over time. And there's been several occasions where I just wouldn't be able to use it because the pH levels of the sour starter too high. So I'll bulk up, start making more. And then when those pH levels come down, then we start using it inside the batter again. And yeah, it's fun stuff, man. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, that sour starter, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy making it. The smell of it, it's really good. You can smell it inside the pancakes when you're cooking the pancakes on the stove. If you take one off the stove and they're fresh and you break one open, you can smell the sour starter inside the pancake when you open it up. And that lets you know, that you're doing it right. And the customers that come in, a lot of customers that come in that are regulars, they know that we use a fermented sour starter inside our pancake batter, and a lot of people love it. They love it. Because it's so original how we make the pancake batter at the original Pancake House. It's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. And I have the privilege of managing it, making it and managing it. And I love making that stuff. I love it. I make it all the time. It's a lot of fun. We keep up with our paperwork, so when we do get a visit from the health department, we show that we're staying on top of it. We show that we're doing the right thing with it, because we don't want to lose that. That's key. Keeping our pancakes, we want them to be original. So, yeah, I really enjoy making the sour starter at the Original Pancake House. It's a lot of fun. But we're going to cover a lot. We're going to cover all menu items. We're going to cover everything that we make. I'm going to talk about it, tell you guys about it, so if you're new and you've never been to the Original Pancake House before, by the time you finish watching a lot of these videos that I'm going to post, you may already know what you want when you get there without even looking at the menu. It's great. It's great, but we'll cover everything. I'll cover my history of being 12 consecutive years cooking at the Original Pancake House. And oh, what fun that was. I had a lot of fun moments as a cook at the Original Pancake House. I got so good at it, and with everything I learned from the general manager at the time, his name was James Jordan. I can't remember where he got his training from, but wherever he got it from, it was big. It was major, because the owners were opening up the restaurant for the first time. So I'm pretty sure he got the best training that any general manager could possibly get, because working with him, and I saw the experience that he had. I'm not sure where he went to get his training, but he was good. He was good. He knew his stuff. And at that time, when the restaurant first opened, I started with the company about 6 months after they opened. So they were already open for 6 months, not even a full year, before I actually came on and started working for them. They were there about between 6 and 9 months. I think it was about 6 months. And then I came on. But yeah, he knew it. And he was the only manager. There was only one manager. And on his days off, the owners would run the shifts during that time, because it was just starting, everything was new. They were one manager. He did it all. He was the KM, he was the assistant manager. He did it all. He did it all. And then, of course, the owners helped. And they covered his days off so he can have a day off. Yeah. And the owners would have their system where, one of the owners would run the front of the house, and the other owner would run the back of the house. And that worked out real well. For a while, until the volume started increasing, and then things started to get a little overwhelming. It got to the point where we started hiring more management, bringing on more people. It was great. It was great to be a part of that, watching the business grow. It was fun. It was fun. And for that to be my first job ever, it was all new for me, just like it was new for the owners starting their first business. It's great. It's great. Yeah. It's been 3 decades and I can honestly say it's the best time I'm having the time of my life. I'm having the time of my life working there, and that's a great thing, because not everybody can say that. Not everybody can say that they go to work every day and, they can say that they're having the time of their life, because, there's a lot of people that go to work and, they either don't want to be there, or they're not working on a job that they're happy with. So I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate, and I'm thankful that I found a job, my first job, and I fell in love with it. And I've been doing it ever since I started. Yeah, that's great. I love it. But yeah, that covers the sour starter. I wanted to cover that, and we're gonna cover all the menu items, everything on the menu, everything we serve. We're gonna cover that in future videos. But yeah. Aside from the Original Pancake House, I'm on my journey. You know, I'm on my journey to financial freedom. I want to be financially free. I want to own my time, you know, so that I can do what I want when I want to do it. I mean, that's everyone's wish. Everyone wants to be financially free. Who doesn't want to be financially free? Yes, I love the original Pancake House, but I want to believe that there's life after what I'm doing. You know, yes, I'm enjoying it, and I'm lucky. I'm very, very lucky to actually be working on a job that I enjoy, because, you know, not everyone enjoys going to work every day. You know? So I'm thankful. Yeah, I thank God. I thank God for life, and I thank Him for all the blessings and everything that He has done for me. I really am thankful. But yeah, financial freedom. You know, I want to own my own time. I want to be able to get up and, you know, do whatever I want to do with my time. You know, so that's what this journey is all about. You know, my investment journey. And I just got paid yesterday, and I have very little money in my bank account today, you know, because I have a system. I have a system set up, and it's a no-brainer. You know, I pay my bills, I pay my rent, you know, and we'll talk about that more. You know, as far as my bills and everything, all my bills that I have, everything that I'm paying, you know what I mean? The sacrifices that I'm making, because I am making a lot of sacrifices. You know, I made a lot of sacrifices, and it's for good. It's for a good reason. You know, a lot of people make sacrifices in their lifestyle, in the way they live, for all the wrong reasons. You know, but I'm thankful and happy to say that the lifestyle changes that I've made, I'm making them for the right reasons. Yeah, I'm making them for all the right reasons. But yeah, I got paid yesterday, paid all my bills, paid my rent, I paid all the bills that I had. I paid my credit cards down, all the way down to zero. Every month I pay them all the way down to zero, you know. And I followed the 75, 15, 10 rule when it comes to money. You know, the first thing I did before I paid my bills was I paid myself. You know, and I'm fortunate to be able to say that I can do that. You know, but anyone and everyone should be doing that, because if you're going to work, yeah, you got bills to pay. I understand that, but you have to pay yourself something. So the first thing I did, I analyzed my bills. I'm always on a budget. I'm always on a budget to the point where, even though I'm paying myself first, I'm not putting myself in a situation where I can't pay my rent, or, you know what I mean, I can't keep the lights on, or, you know, stuff like that. And I'm not going to do that to myself. You know what I mean? I'm on a budget that works for me. You know? So, yeah, I pay my rent. I pay my phone bill, and, you know, I pay my internet bill, and all the bills that I had, paid my credit cards down to zero, because that's how I'm surviving right now, you know. And I have little to no money left in the bank. It's all gone. You know, there might be just enough in there just to stop a possible overdraft fee, which I can't remember the last time that's ever happened to me. I've never had an overdraft fee, and if I did, it was an accident. It was a mistake on my part, and I called them immediately, and, you know, they waived it, because, you know, it was just clearly it was an accident. And they saw that I don't have a history of doing that. You know, I have a good history with my bank, and they were able to waive it, you know, almost immediately. It wasn't a problem. But I keep a little something in there, just in case. There might have been a bill I forgot that's going to be drafted out, whether it be, you know, my son's life insurance, or, you know, anything, you know what I mean? But yeah, I keep a little bit of money in there. And then once I get to the point where I know that nothing's going to come out, and I'm approaching my next paycheck, then I'll look to see what I have in there, and I'll slowly start to, you know, invest that money. You know, like, for example, right now, you know what I mean, I paid all my bills. I pay myself 15%. I actually pay myself 25% because the 10% that you should be saving, I've already saved up to about 4 months of expenses. And that's what the 10% is for. You put the 10% in a high yield savings account to cover your expenses for anywhere from 3 to 6 months up to a year, depending on your circumstances or your situation. For me, 3-4 months was enough. So, I was taking that 10% of what I make and putting it in the high yield savings account up until the point where I'm able to cover myself in case something happens and I'm out of work for about 4 months. I can pay my bills. Without a problem. And that's what the emergency fund is for. It's for an emergency. Things are gonna happen. It's gonna rain. You got to be ready for that. That's the reason why you put that 10% away. It's so important. You know what I mean? And if something ever happens and I need to use that money, then I'll start putting 10% back into it again, and creating that nest egg. So when there's ever a situation where I have an emergency or I'm without a car and I can't drive to work, or, and I work, my job is too far away and I can't get there unless I have a car, that's what your emergency fund is for. So because I have 3 to 4 months of expenses where something happens to me and I get sick, or, I'm out of work for about 4 months, I can pay my bills. Now, instead of investing 15%, I'm investing 25%. And that's exactly what I did yesterday. I took the first 25% of my paycheck and I threw it into my investments. I paid, then after that, I didn't invest yet. I just put it in my brokerage account. I said, I'll invest it later. I just want to make sure it's in my brokerage account and it's out of the way, and I subtracted it from the calculator so I know what I'm dealing with. Because a lot of times when you start moving money around from the bank, it's not going to show the balance after you've taken out so much money. It's not going to show it right away. So you need to use a calculator. And that's what I did. I used a calculator and I put 25% in my brokerage account, paid all my bills down, and there's next to nothing in the bank right now. I have next to no money in the bank at all. There's nothing in there. And that's what I do. I do that every 2 weeks. And you're probably saying, well, how do you buy your food? How do you pay for gas? How do you buy things that you need and or want? And yeah, we'll get into that in another video. But as far as needs and wants is concerned, but I will tell you how I survive in a situation like this, in these situations. I use my credit cards. I have 2 credit cards. You don't really need credit cards. You only really need 2 credit cards. You only really need 1. I recommend a Visa card because if you're one credit card, if you decide to go with 1 credit card and it's an American Express card, there's some places you go that won't accept American Express, and I don't like that. But yes, I do have an American Express card. I use it, and I use a Visa. I have a Citibank card, a Double Cash card, and the Double Cash card, I can use that anywhere. That's accepted anywhere and everywhere. I like that. But yeah, that's how I survive. So anytime I need food or I need gas, I use these credit cards, and these credit cards have rewards. And that's a good thing. None of my credit cards have an annual fee. They do not have an annual fee. And I highly recommend you not get a credit card with an annual fee. I can see myself later on down the line, once I'm retired, maybe having a credit card with an annual fee, because the things I'm gonna be doing, if I'm gonna be traveling and stuff like that, that annual fee, which is, maybe anywhere from $100 to $200 a year, it's gonna pay for the things I'm going to be doing. It's going to more than pay for, itself. But in this situation right now, when you're trying to build wealth, no. I don't recommend you get a credit card with an annual fee. Go to your bank, see if they can give you a Visa card, a credit card, see what your limit is, and whatever your limit is, that's going to be your budget. That would be my budget anyway, and that's what I would do. That's what I'm doing now. So I have my American Express card, my Citibank card, and another Visa card, which I don't really use. But I mean, and they all have zero balances on them right now. I pay them all down. I pay them down every month. I use them for gas. I use them for food. I use them mostly for what I need. Occasionally there's some things that I might want, and I'll use the credit card, but I have to pay it back. I have to pay it back. So I'm a little more limited on things that I really want. I'm more focused on things that I need because I'm trying to build wealth. I'm trying to buy my freedom. I'm trying to become financially free where, I'll have my time. My time is my own. You know what I mean? So in order to get to that level, I have to make those sacrifices. So that's what I'm doing. I got paid yesterday and I'm broke today. There's little to no money in the bank account, and what's in there is just to prevent an overdraft fee. But I paid all the credit cards down to zero. All my bills are paid. I have no debt. And that's how I'm building my wealth. That's how I build my wealth. And we'll definitely cover in another video what exactly I'm investing my money in. But I can go ahead and say right here, I can go ahead and tell you right now that I have a Roth IRA. I have a Roth IRA in my brokerage account, and that's priority for me right now. I only owe $2,000 more. I have to contribute to for my contributions in my Roth IRA. I have $2,000 more I need to invest by April 15th. That's the tax deadline. And then after that, I fall into a new age bracket. But my age bracket for 2024 was my age bracket in 2024. I was able to invest in my Roth IRA up to $7,000. So 5 of the 7 has been invested, and I need $2,000 more by April 15th that I'm going to need to invest. And that's priority for me because before I file my taxes, I want to have that paid off. I don't know if that's going to help me during tax time. I think it does help a little bit that I have that paid down, because then, anything that you have in a Roth IRA, you don't pay taxes on, even when you take it out. But you can't touch that money for a while until you're 59 years old, which is something to think about. You can take out your initial investment, but when they say you can't touch the money in your Roth IRA, you cannot touch any gains, any money that you're earning in the Roth IRA. If you take that out, you're going to be penalized for it. So that's what I've been focusing on right now, my Roth IRA. Roth IRA, IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account, because the original Pancake House does not offer retirement. A lot of people say, oh, well, this job doesn't offer retirement, I need to find me something else. Or, if you really like the job you're working at and you're happy with it, you can always get a Roth IRA or, a regular IRA. There's 2 different types of IRAs. I have the Roth IRA. But yeah, you can do that and still, keep the job that you love. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I did with my paycheck. I got it yesterday. It's gone today. But, if there's anything that I need, I'll use my credit card. And my credit cards give me rewards for using them, as long as I pay it off on time. I've never, ever, ever paid interest on any of my credit cards. None of them. And the interest is humongous. We're talking 20 to 25%. If something were to happen and I couldn't pay off that credit card inside of a month and there's a balance on there, they're going to charge me 20% or more on that balance. and you don't want to pay that. But there's a lot of people in the world that are paying that, but you don't want to pay that. You know, nobody wants to pay that. And the ones that are paying it, that are forced into paying it, that's rough. That's rough. At that point, you know what I mean? I would find a pair of scissors and yeah, have a vasectomy. You know, chop the credit cards up and never use them again. Pay them off and never use them again before I pay that much interest. You know, my credit cards are what's helping me. Is what I'm living off of until I get my next paycheck. And then when I get my next paycheck, the first thing I do, not every month, but every 2 weeks, I pay something down on those cards, because I don't want to wait till the end of the month and then have a big, huge bill that I have to pay. You know, every time I get paid, every 2 weeks, I look and see how much I owe on the credit cards, and I pay them down. You know, I pay them down to zero every 2 weeks, not just once a month. If you're trying to build credit, it's always nice to pay the bill on the due date. But then again, you know, we'll save that for another video. Because if you're trying to build credit, there's ways that you can use the credit card to help you build your credit. And I will share that in another video. That's a promise. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. You know, I got paid yesterday, and that's what I did with my money. And I feel good about it. You know? Yeah, there's nothing left in the bank. There's no money left in the bank. You know, maybe a little bit in there just to prevent an overdraft fee, just in case I might have forgot something. But I didn't forget anything. You know, I got $70 in there, and if I don't invest it between now and the time I get my next paycheck, you know, I might see a small opportunity. You know, I got a few bucks I can throw at it. You know, but if I don't, then it'll just carry over until the next paycheck, and then I'll repeat the cycle over and over and over again. Yeah. Definitely consider a Roth IRA. We're going to start there. You know, consider a Roth IRA. Think about it. Look into it. Decide what brokerage account you want. You know, you can go. There's lots of ones. There's lots of brokerage accounts. You know, I'm not going to make a personal recommendation, but there's Fidelity, there's Webull, there's Robinhood. You know, there's Moomoo. There's so many of them. Yeah. Just look into it. Decide which one you're going to be comfortable with, and go for it. Yeah. But anyway, that was great. I enjoyed it. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch the video if you made it this far. Yeah, another day at the Original Pancake House. Yeah. That's how I'm surviving. I love my job, and now my second job, you know, is becoming financially free. That's my second job. Yeah. And I'm hard at work on it, guys. And I highly recommend that you consider it. Consider it. All right. Catch you later. Peace.